Okay, it's 9 p.m. on the East Coast, and it's time for another episode of Shop Talk. 120 minutes of all the bullshit we can fit. So much going on in the motorcycle industry this week that we're gonna be packing it in, man. I'm Chris from Cycle Source Magazine, live at the Cherokee Blue Ridge Run here in North Carolina, joined by my partner out in Colorado, Ken Coney.
What's up, man?
How you doing, baby?
You?
Good. How are you
Dude,
out there?
I'm good. I still need to pack. I'm leaving tomorrow morning for the Indian Chieftain launch. So I'm riding to Washington State, up through Wyoming, Montana, etc. So I'm pretty excited for that. I'm going to go see some friends. Going to do the Beartooth. I've never done Beartooth Highway. So I busted out my Butler motorcycle maps and going to try to hit as many of those yellow rides that they've got highlighted as possible. So
man, and that's exciting because you're just fresh off of Harley's model launch, and like I said, you know, right in the title of this thing, it's like back to back. There's so much news going on, news with racing, news with new models. I mean, the stuff that we're going to talk about Indian tonight is crazy. The stuff that Harley has going on is crazy.
For sure. I was just finishing up, some articles for you guys for the next month, and just, looking at what 2019 is looking like for Harley as well as Indian. I mean, they've been really fun articles to write because it's taking a lot of research. Like, I've got to actually, It's not just like stuff that comes out of my head. I'm like, okay, what are they actually adding in, and how is this going to affect everything? So it's cool. It's cool, man. It's an exciting time in the motorcycle industry, and I can't say that I've had that feeling in a while. Right. So that's cool.
It is exciting. And I mean, in spite of the fact that there's, there's passion and emotion in all of it, and you hear people, the pros and cons of what they think and how they feel about it. The point is, people are thinking and they are feeling again, rather than just, well, they changed a couple colors or this is going on. Like, there's actual energy in the industry and the culture again.
They are mixing it up. What do you think, Heather?
I think that I have to say, because you get to ride motorcycles while we get to sit in our office and make a damn magazine. So
hey, that's your choice.
No.
Hey, so we are broadcasting this Facebook Live, and as you just saw, we're joined by the lovely Heather, who is monitoring all the Facebook comments. You're welcome to join in the conversation. This is not just us doing a report. This is us opening up the airwaves once a week to say, okay, how does everybody feel about this? What's going on? So it's up to you to participate. It's up to you to help keep Shop Talk going just by pressing the share button right down there. Go down, press share, send us out everywhere. We do broadcast this every Thursday, typically Friday because we had a little crazy travel schedule, but we also put it out after the fact through Cycle Source's YouTube channel and Ken's Forever Two Wheels podcast. That's the number 4 ever, the number 2 wheels.com. And
this is number 103.
Right.
I'll have you know.
How about it? That's a busy schedule with that thing.
103. So, and we're just gonna keep cranking. So,
right on.
Hey, I got a neat text from Josh Allison today.
Crybaby Cycles, Josh Allison?
Yeah, Crybaby Cycles, Josh Allison, right, and of OCC. He was just checking in, seeing how things were going, and he said he's headed out for another 4 or 5 weeks out to the East Coast to help those guys out there. So exciting times for him for sure. Right, said he's got some fun builds that he's going to do that are, I'm sure that they're going to be using him, and I think Ryan Gore again.
Yeah,
so.
Also working with Ryan Gore, man.
I'm so excited for Ryan. Ryan is one of those people, like, he's uber talented, pays so much attention to detail, but he's a really good human being, too. He's just a genuinely good guy. So kudos to him. I'm super glad he's out there and rocking that.
When the thing that's cool about it, like the OCC thing coming back, there was a lot of different opinions about that, but I actually dig the way that they're doing this year, that they're bringing all these different people in and showing people different faces and different flavors when it comes to fabrication and style and stuff. It's pretty good.
I honestly haven't watched it, I have to be honest.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either.
You're a terrible TV person.
I am a terrible TV person.
I'm a terrible TV person as well.
Honestly though, Ken, if Heather can't catch something on Netflix, forget it. You lost her.
Yeah. If I can't fast forward or if I can't skip commercials, forget it.
I just don't have time to watch TV. I mean, I really wish that I did have more time to watch TV, kind of. But I simply do not have, or I shouldn't say that. I don't carve out time to go do that.
I may be speaking of this premature. This is how little TV I watch and how little I pay attention. We're getting ready to start another project motorcycle.
Can you believe she's even saying that?
I know.
What is wrong with you?
Right?
Hey, it's totally his fault.
It's my fault.
I'm just trying to help with the because we have a fairly hard deadline with this one, and it's a Cholo inspired bike, which we've not done, which should be pretty cool. But somebody's like, "Oh, because of the Mayans are coming out," and I went, "Because of the what?" And they're like, "The Mayans." I'm like, "What's the Mayans?" Like, and they thought I was living under a rock, and apparently it's some offshoot from Sons of Anarchy, which I have to say I've never even seen 2 seconds of.
Right.
So apparently we're building a bike because of a show that we've never seen. So good luck.
Sweet. Have fun with that.
Oh my goodness. So what else? What else goes on in the world of Ken Connie? Tell me a little bit about the Harley stuff. We're going to get into that more later, but
what do you want to know? I mean, we got to I rode the FXDR. That'll be in the next issue. So here's the thing that everybody's talking about with that bike: exhaust and air intake, right? So that air intake is obviously inspired by, Vance and Hines Destroyer class. You look at those, and that's exactly what they were running, but they put it on a bike that's a lot smaller.
Yeah.
And so there's a really easy way to take care of that, like with a lot of intakes, right? So there's that, and then the exhaust is a very angular kind of European-looking giant collector. And so the exciting thing is that Jen Hoyer, who is amazing, got me pictures of a bike without those two things on it. And so we're going to put that. Yeah, so she got it kind of pictures of a bike that's accessorized.
Come to think of it, if I can just say this for 1 second, when we did the Softail model launch, I was one of the only people that demanded to get one of the pictures of it completely stripped down, because our take on it was a lot like the old 1200 Super Glide and everything you could do to it, and she was the person that hooked me up with that too.
Yeah, no, she's got the lowdown for sure, and the connection. So she got us that, so that'll be in the article. And I think once people see that, they'll go, "Oh yeah, this has like a really good base," Yeah. And it's just a really different bike, man. So we rode those. We rode the CVOs. I'm in love with that CVO Road Glide. That thing it's expensive. It's whatever, $43,000 or something.
What?
Yeah, but wait a minute.
It's
though.
what? Does it come with somebody that pilots it for you and?
No, it doesn't. It's $43,000, but if you look at it, it looks like a full-blown custom motorcycle. Like the other CVOs, that I never really paid attention to them before. I know that they've done a billion different ones over the years, and I'm like, oh, they just put a lot of chrome parts on that bike. These are a completely different bike. Like that CVO Road Glide, it's got a 21-inch front wheel on it. It's like slammed. It's a cool-looking bike.
$43,000 though.
Yeah, but if you think about what you buy, you buy a Road Glide, which is what, 25, 26, right, when it gets out the door, and then you put another 10, 15 into it, you're right there.
Plus, Heather, we're just old,
and it's got a
and
117 in it. I didn't tell you that part either. It's got a 117 in it. And that thing is a beast.
And dude,
I think I'm so used to buying like a $1,000 donor bike and just making it ourselves.
She's a chopper snob, dude. I love it.
But like 40, that's like half a mortgage for some people. That's a year's salary for people. That's crazy.
No, it's an obscene amount of money. There's no for a motorcycle for sure. There's no doubt about that. But I'm saying there's a lot of people that spend an obscene amount of money on motorcycles. Including, bagger guys who go out and spend, $25,000-$30,000 on a bagger, and then they go spend another $40,000 or $50,000 to get it customized by somebody. So, Yeah.
Well, Heather, you got anything in from social media real quick before we go to our first guest?
Yeah, we have a bunch of people with us tonight. Let's see. Rich Petoniak, Brenda and Jack DeGazio, Jamie Tverzuk, Mike Yorko. Mike, we met him on the Bonneville Salt Flats.
I love Mike,
I think
dude.
he got a record.
That's my favorite cat in Canada now. My favorite dude in Canada.
I think he got a record, I believe, that I'm hoping we annihilate next year when we go with the War Pony. Harley Soto from Black Feather, from, I cannot say the town, but somewhere in Mexico. Sweet Steve Brown, Carl Hanlon, Phil Griffin, Dave Morrow.
Carl Hanlon, blast from the past.
Right?
Holy moly.
Wayne McJunkin, what are the classes for the show? For our bike show on Sunday, everything's welcome. We kind of don't class it until you get here and we see what we got and what he likes.
Listen, there's a couple important things to say right there, because tomorrow here at the Cherokee Blue Ridge Run, Pirowitz is having his paint show, which has all the typical trimmings and everything that goes with the Pirowitz paint show. All weekend long, Bob K is running the one of the AMD World Show qualifiers here, and he has the standard classes, the street, the custom, like you can check all that out on the Cherokee website. But then on Sunday we're doing a ride-in chopper show, so it's kind of like all over the map, man. There's a little bit of something going on every day here for everyone as far as shows go.
It is pretty cool.
Nice.
And there are stunt shows and trials bikes, and the Wall of Death is here, and all sorts of... Jasmine Kane, who's actually watching, was out on that stage earlier today. And I'm super bummed. As always, we were actually on the same property, all performing at once, and we didn't even get to say hello. So, hi, Jasmine. Shadow is here. And Stan... Hello. We're going to skip the last name. Tazarka, I think, maybe?
Well, listen, speaking of Bob K, Bob is our first guest tonight, and luckily I get to call this gentleman a friend of mine for quite a few many years, probably more than either one of us want to remember. But for people who don't know Bob was responsible for a little company once upon a time called the New England Motorcycle Products Company, which the initials for are NEMCO. Went on to become Tuckeraki, Biker's Choice, and the great company it is today. But Bob has been involved in so many different parts of the industry through Biker Pros and with his work with the AIM Expo, and he's a mover and a shaker behind the scenes, even when you don't know that it's going on. And we're lucky enough to get him to sit down with us here for a little bit of tonight. So I'm gonna bring Bob on, and we're gonna grill him about the AMD World Show. What's up, Bob?
Hey, thanks for being having me here. We're having a great time here at the Cherokee show. Always love being with you and Heather, Chris. So we just got it going on with the AMD show. So what can I tell you about it?
Well, I think one of the things that we want to ask first is, a lot of people probably, and just take this what it is, because we have such a segmented culture anymore, but a lot of people don't understand that there's still a way to the World Championships, or that there is still a World Championships going on, and the work that you're doing to make that happen for American builders.
Well, so I've been working with the World Championships almost since the beginning. Used to be at the Custom Chrome show over in the West Coast. I've been over to Europe to help expand it, working with the IMS and JMP Cycles. And so where we're at right now is, the economy kind of took a shitter a few years ago, and having everybody come from Europe over to here forced us to bring the championship back to Germany. Well, we didn't want to exclude the American builders. Actually, our culture, chopper culture, everything was all invented in the United States. So that's where I came in and said, okay, let's see what we can do. And this is probably 6 years now we've been working on this championship. We've sent 4 American builders over to Germany. We paid for all their expenses, shipping the bike, their hotel, their flights, and everything. And then again this year, you have to understand the World Championship is in Cologne at Intermot, one of the biggest shows over in Europe. They run about 150,000 people through it. That show runs every 2 years. So this year I am bringing Tim Dixon and Jordan Dickinson, who have won our qualifier shows here in the States in the past. And they're just so excited to represent the United States. We kind of call it Team America. And this year, the Cherokee show has really made a commitment to motorcycles. They really want to be a motorcycle sovereign nation. And they are sending the winner of our show this weekend. We will pay for their expenses to go over to Germany.
Right on.
And it's just an incredible thing. And it's very interesting for the fact that, you know, we've invented this culture. This is American, the chopper culture and everything. And in Europe and Asia, they've really accepted this and really trying to do and do what we do. But there's no Americans over there, so that's where we come in trying to make that happen. And I've brought a few Americans over there over the years, and it's just great. We go over there, we're all heroes. They love it. We have a good time. We run about 100 bikes over there. It's pretty impressive.
I vote that you bring Cycle Source magazine as ambassadors for the American chopper
Well,
scene.
I'd love to do that. I promise you, we would have a good time. You know, I've kind of taught them a few things over in Germany over the years. One year I was over there. We had the builder party. We thought it was going to be 50 people, and about 100 people showed up, and they were serving us these little 4-ounce beers. You know, it's kind of cool. Well, by the time the night was over, I got everybody buying. They had a little thing with 12 beers in it. They were buying the 12 things of beers rather than the one. But it's, you know what? There's a language barrier, but there's not a culture barrier. The guys over there, they've known Nemco for years. They've known what I've done. They've known Cycle Source. And they really respect that so much. And it's just incredible to be over there, and the people that kind of watch what's going on with the custom culture. It's just incredible to be there.
So who are some of the builders that you brought over there?
We brought, let me see. So, like, again, I said Tim Dixon and Jordan Dickinson are going over this year.
Okay.
Last time I brought over, the guy out of New York. From I'm trying to think now.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no. Larry Moore came over.
Yeah.
It's been late here at night. Oh man, he's just a great guy in New York. I can't. I don't know
Not George.
No, not George. He's it's right on the tip of my. Anyways, he's come over there. We've had a few.
Yeah, was it Chaos? Chaos.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
Chaos.
George.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, George. You know, you're a good buddy. It's late here, you know, but
George, I'll tell you what, man. George is over the years. George has become a sleeper builder.
yes,
He really
absolutely.
has. I mean,
Yeah.
he came out with like a couple flashy things, and like, you know, the New York scene is a hustle, man. You know what I mean? So a guy comes out with a bike or two, and you go, okay, well, let's see what he's going to do in the long stretch, because
Sure.
it's hard. The custom motorcycle game to begin with is hard, but then to be in New York City and to make it over a series of years. And George, like some of the stuff that he's done lately with blending different styles and different models and stuff, like I am really a fan of what George has been doing.
You know, it was really interesting. Like I said, it's every 2 years. So a couple of years ago, we had a third guy that was going to come over with us, didn't quite make it on time, so we were a little late shipping the bikes over. The bikes came in like a day late. Unbelievable. Every builder, the Europeans were there. They were helping these guys. They couldn't wait to see the bikes. I mean, it was just amazing, the camaraderie. So, you know, the wonderful thing about motorcycles, and especially the custom culture side of the deal, is that people go beyond just their own benefit. They're looking to help people. Yeah, it's a competition and everybody wants to win, but man, these guys were a day late. You can't believe the number of builders that came over, helped them. DHL, make sure the bikes got through customs, the whole deal. You don't see that in other, like in the car world or anything else. It's just unbelievable, you know.
Nice.
Well, you know, in addition to that, I want to talk for a minute about the show here and what the classes are real quick. We want to tell people, because there's still time still time to get down here and
Absolutely.
get into this and get a chance at going to the Worlds, right?
So we've got it down to 3 classes right now. We're not really focused on the style of bike. We believe that the builder should pick the style that he thinks best represents his abilities and skill set. So you have the freestyle class. Anything goes. The winner of the freestyle class is the one that goes to Germany. They're only limited by their resources and their imagination. But we want to build the industry, and we want future builders to come up so they're in that class. So we also have a street class, which is 85 and later. In that particular class, you have to start out with a OEM engine and an OEM chassis. Do whatever changes you want to it, but that's your basics where you start. Then the retro class, which has always been my favorite, pre-84. There you have to have an original engine. Can't be a replica engine, even though they're great. I mean, S&S built some really fine engines and some other guys, but an original OEM engine, you can modify your stock frame, have a custom frame, but as long as it's a pre-84, so that's our retro class. Now, we also got a couple things going this year where survivors are becoming a really big deal. Not part of the awards to go to Germany, but we do pay out $750 for the guy with the best survivor.
Right
We got an $18,000 purse here, people. So besides our freestyle class, we're focusing our street class and our classic class on new and younger builders. We want to build the industry. We want the custom culture to grow. Honestly, I've been in this since 1971, however many of that years, and I want to help people. That's what it's all about, working with Chris and Heather to spread this. The custom culture is the basics. None of the OEMs, including Harley-Davidson, have ever been really innovative. It's all come from the aftermarket industry, and we need to pay respect to that and not be focused on just new unit sales. We need to, you sell a young kid a bike, you need to sell him a wrench too. That's my big deal. We need
that
to
was
get
one of the
people
coolest
involved.
things I've heard you say in a long time. We were talking about this just when we all got here the other day, Ken, and we were talking about the different outreaches and stuff that's going on, and as much as there's unity now with the different styles of motorcycle, because you see guys in this room, there's mods and rocker guys, there's chopper guys, there's guys that are working on new stuff, there's bagger guys. But as much as there's that unity right now, as far as the industry goes, there have never been stronger barriers between the OEs, the aftermarket. There's a lot of suspicion for corporate level stuff from a lot of the young guys, and I think this is the same place we were when we were the young guys.
Yeah, man.
We were suspicious.
I fought that battle. Trust me, it wasn't easy getting here.
But
yeah.
I think that when we're having these conversations about outreach and trying to reach to the younger generations underneath us, like those are some of the conversations we have to start to understand how those boundaries need addressed too.
So here's kind of the deal. Like, I understand the OEs need to sell units. That's everybody is focused on the money and the units, but what makes motorcycle people different from cage people is their involvement. And if you're just selling units, if you're just focused on that, they're going to buy a motorcycle, whether it's electric or gas is really irrelevant. And they're only going to maybe use it until they get into golf or something else. But you give a kid a wrench when he's 2 years old, you buy him a Strider, tell him how to tighten his seat. I don't care. Adjust the chain when they have chains on their bikes. Before they get into this video stuff, before they get into this tech stuff, because they're going to have that anyways. That is part of the deal. But to tell them their hands matter and what they do with their hands, that's a whole new world. And that's got to start with 3 and 5-year-olds right now.
Absolutely.
If you're going after the millennial group, everybody talks about that. That's done, man, If you're not in and focused on that market and have that figured out, forget about it. We need to be going after the real young kids right now.
Beyond millennial,
yes,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and Ken, you've been a big proponent of that same mindset about, true youth outreach, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's, and I was talking to Heidi when I was in Milwaukee, and, I was telling her about, there needs to be an OE to go out and have their dealers commit to a weekend kids ride program. Like, they need to teach kids how to ride.
Amen.
They need to have a program where, those dealerships are willing to do that once a month, or whatever it is. And I think, I went into the local dealership the other day. There was not a single motorcycle in there for a child.
Oh, nothing.
Not a single one in there. And maybe they're sold out of them. I have no idea. But there wasn't a single thing in there except for some quads and UTVs. And, the thing, as far as the millennials go, I think we got a little bit of an insight into it last week when we had one of the Harley-Davidson Find Your Freedom interns in. That's what we're dealing with. Those are the kind of guys and gals, that we need to get them excited about,
Absolutely.
motorcycles. And because once they do, I mean, there's no letting go. You could tell a guy who had never been on a motorcycle before, and he got this internship, rode 14,000 miles, which I'm pretty sure is more than all four of us combined this summer.
And dude, he was truly a pleasure to talk to. Like, it did my heart good to hear his take on this stuff.
Yeah,
one of Harley's,
because
I can remember. Listen, I'm gonna call bullshit on myself, because when Harley first started that program and announced we're gonna pick these, this diverse group of millennials, and we're gonna let them be our interns for the summer, I was like, this is stupid. This is stupid. You're just giving non-motorcycle people a chance to be insta famous, and what's this really gonna do? And I couldn't have been more wrong. I mean, when this kid talked about the transformation that happened with him through his time on that motorcycle, a short 2 months worth of time, it was incredible. It was incredible how it changed his life. It's killer.
Yeah, and he did it in his own voice. It wasn't some like, these are the things that you got to read and these are the things that you got to say. Like, he was very
real.
candid about it. It was cool. It was cool for sure.
That's what we all know. We live, eat, and breathe that, and that's what makes everything so special. And for you go into a shop and all you see is UTVs and ATVs, it gets back to unit sales rather than an investment in the future, which is having those Striders, having those mini bikes, and having a little track at your shop to go out and spend time with those kids and really make them understand.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Yeah, I mean, that is, I mean, those kids, and think about it, Bob, if we had done that 10 years ago.
Oh, we'd be harvesting that crop now.
Yeah, those kids would be 23 right now, right? They would be, 19 to 23, and we wouldn't be up against, the kind of problems that we've got right now. So they're changing strategy, and I think, it makes sense. But
it's a matter of the bean counters. I'm sorry to say, we have to make money. I mean, you got to make money to support a corporation. Harley's a top 500 company now. All that stuff. You got to make the money, but you got to have that investment in the future, and you got to kind of be seeing that ahead of time. And you're absolutely right. We wouldn't be fighting that battle right now if we had this. It's what makes motorcycles special. It's that feeling. You're out, that openness. You're out on the road. It's the camaraderie, right? What is there? The Hog Club, the different clubs that go on. It's all about that. Everything that's special about motorcycles that it's really hard to find in cars anymore. Unless you're in that really select group, maybe of hot rods or racing or something like that.
Well, you bring up an interesting kind of dichotomy, Bob, which is, when I think about motorcycles, I think about, this trip I'm going on tomorrow. Like, I'm going to be on the road by myself, which is that's what I like the most.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Like, just me. I got nobody to answer to. I got, some soup in my saddlebag that I can eat whenever I want to, and I don't have to worry about where I'm going to stop. I can throw my sleeping bag down and a tarp.
Oh, now I seriously am pissed.
But there's also...
Oh, you're letting your secrets out, Ken.
But there's also, the other side of it, which is like what you said. It's that camaraderie. It's the if I go into a gas station and there's somebody else riding, like, I'm going to talk to that guy, whether I know him or not, and that's the interesting part of it. That's really, it really kind of goes two different ways,
Well, that's so important. I just did a recent article for somebody, and we talked about, you're running down the road, you see a bike coming the way, you throw him the peace sign. That's important. It doesn't matter what he's riding. You're respecting that guy. It's a matter of respect. And somebody pulled over on the side of the road. You pull over just to check and make sure he's all right. We went to Sturgis. I brought my nephew for the first time to Sturgis this year. We rode a lot of miles and stuff. We had some problems with the bike. The people stopped by just to make sure we were all right. Obviously, we had it covered and stuff, but they didn't know. They just making sure. You don't ever see that, with cars or anything. And that whole, again, it gets back to that culture. So we skipped a beat. We maybe missed a little bit here with the profitability and the changing in society and stuff, but it's not too late. Motorcycles are so special. They're gonna go on forever, but we need to reinforce why they're special and and keep that alive and get them involved very, very young age, not just 20. Like I said, myself, I believe 3 and 5 years old. I'm going to be a grandfather. I got to tell you, for the first time, my daughter's I'm going to have a grandson sometime in January.
Yay.
Well, I bought him the motorcycle bike book. They were selling here with the Striders. When my daughter was growing up, I bought a couple of those little choppers for her and her friends to ride. Well, we still got one. So when I get home, I'm going to build a little bench for him and, that kind of stuff. That's, it's just so important. So important.
Agreed.
And that's on us. That's not on Harley. That's not
right.
on Honda.
No.
I got to really just take a minute to say that. I really believe that's on us. The motorcyclists, the bikers of today, we can't count on the corporate guys to do this. We have to do it. Yeah, they're going to profit. So what? Our culture is going to live on for a long time if we put that energy into it.
Well,
I mean, it's a really symbiotic relationship, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, don't you think that's the case, Chris? I mean, without the OEMs, we've got no business. Without, parts, they've got,
Well, man, and listen, I'll take this all a step further. You know what I mean? Because we're sitting here right now broadcasting from the Cherokee Blue Ridge Run, which is an event that a promoter's putting on, and the promoter's charging a gate fee. But Bob is here putting on a show and giving away $18,000. And, at the end of the day, we're here doing a show. Mr. Pirowitz is here doing a show. But to do stuff like this, I mean, these are not single occurrences. It's not like we're throwing a bike show in our backyard. All of us do things across the country all the time. And it's not like I'm desperate for filler for my magazine and Bob is desperate for new friends. And that's why we go out and do this shit. And seriously, it's an investment because we've been part of this industry. This industry's been great to us.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, you have to invest back in that culture. What Bob's doing and other people that put on shows like this everywhere is he's given an opportunity for people from this region that want to travel here and get recognized for the skill and the ability that they have that they're putting into their motorcycles, man. And I mean, that's people on the other side of this too. Those young guys that are out there that have a raised eyebrow, that are skeptical about why people do these things. This is why, we're giving you the opportunity to come out and get recognized and be part of this.
Yeah. Yeah, and we see that with silly stuff like that mini bike racing at Gettysburg Bike Week. Like how much bonding happened over that, of just like ridiculous, fun. And I think that's really important. There's a guy that I really respected, died a few years ago, and he always said, if you're grateful for something, you should be responsible to it.
Yep.
So
well put.
If you're out there and you are in the motorcycle industry, you are responsible.
That's right.
You are responsible.
We all have a personal responsibility to it.
Yeah.
So at the same time that we're asking Bob about the AMD qualifiers, we're also, part of our theme here is the fact that even though the season is coming to an end, the Cherokee's going on this weekend. The same weekend, Electric City, just a few short hours south from us, is going on. At the same time, the St. Louis Showcase is going on over in St. Louis. There's a lot of stuff still happening, but we are coming into the end of the season, and one of the things that's, you know, well celebrated throughout the winter months is the Ultimate Builder show that goes on through the IMS shows, and that also gives us an opportunity to talk to somebody at the head of that thing, because Bob, that's something that you're directing as well.
Yeah. So I don't know, 8-10 years ago, when I got over to Europe and got involved, and they wanted to bring the awareness of the AMD stateside, keep it strong after we moved from Sturgis to Europe, I revamped the Ultimate Builder JMP series to make it more reflective of these young builders and to invite them in with the classes and just to kind of help people out. That's kind of always been the focus of Biker Pros, whether we were finding parts or just helping them promote their businesses. So this year, I was invited to get re-engaged with the Ultimate Builder series, which I was really thrilled for the opportunity. So we're going to be getting back into that, and we're going to kind of look at things. And we got 7 shows this year. We're starting with Long Beach in November. The end of November, we're going to be doing New York City. And then through January and February, we got another 5 shows going on. And it's all about the same thing. What we're really trying to do is get the young people that are taking the time to get involved and, learn about what they have to do and practice their skills and, their welding. And it's no longer just a V-twin business. Let me say that.
That's right.
When I grew up, you had to have a Harley to be in a show. Forget about anything else. I mean, it was strictly custom shows, were strictly Harley. And then the other thing was, you had a chopper show, you had a pro street show. If you didn't build a bike to the particular style of the time, forget it. You knew you weren't going to win anything. Well, diversity rules right now, and that's a good thing. I really believe that's something we've learned from the younger people, that the diversity and that all welcoming aspect of the business, and that's what the Ultimate Builder show is trying to do. We don't care if you got a Honda you bought for $300, but you went home, built your own frame for it, did some custom sheet metal work, or you're running an old iron head or a shovel head, or whatever it is. If you're spending that energy, we want you there, and we are willing. The way it's set up, we will recognize all levels of your interpretation of the style and the bike that you want to build. And doing this in the winter across the country, it gives you a chance to really get out there. And yeah, you build your bike, you hope to win, but more importantly, what the understanding is, you meet other builders. You start this network. The Harley guy works with the BMW guy, works with the Kawasaki guy, and you learn new things that you never thought of. And that's really the value of Ultimate Builder and the JMP Cycle Show.
Nice. Yeah,
yes, sir.
That totally makes sense to me. Yeah, I mean, and I think, when you're talking about Europe, I mean, gosh, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like a lot of the bikes that come out of Europe are not V-twin based.
Absolutely not. I mean, there's, what's incredible there is over in a lot, especially as you get into the Eastern European countries, they're very industrialized, and the motors they're pulling out, or the engines they're pulling out to build these bikes around, are coming from the 30s and the 40s, and some of them are really strange. So, I'm not familiar with, but what they're doing with them and their interpretation and their style and their energy is just, you can't help but respect what's going on. And interestingly enough, we're finally getting that stateside. So it makes this whole world championship, what we're doing here with AMD, with JMP Ultimate Builder, with different Cycle Source shows, it's just giving people a channel to grow their skill set and be recognized for what they're doing, but more importantly, to be part of our group and that respect, that camaraderie that, custom culture has.
That's great.
So if you have some questions for Bob K, I mean, not too many times you actually get to speak to somebody who has over 40 years in all ends of the industry. But I mean, here's a cat sitting with us tonight who was, largely in part responsible for the development of the aftermarket industry. You got some questions, fire them off. Heather is monitoring the Facebook channel right now and can bring that stuff to Bob's attention. We can get you an answer. Heather.
I was trying to catch up. I'm sorry. Cheese and rice. Let's see. Who do we have in the house? We have Mama Dukes and Joey Chop, and Tom Kiefer is here. One thing I do want to acknowledge, you were talking about all the killer events going on this weekend, and I think we have to acknowledge the motorcycle Cannonball. That starts this weekend.
Absolutely, Heather. You're
in
right
Portland,
on.
Maine. And Bob, that's in our neck of the woods that they're starting. I'm kind of jealous. I wish I was home to wish them well, but there's over 100 riders, I think. They're riding. Sorry, my microphone keeps slipping. Motorcycles that are 100 years old, and they're going to ride them 3,600 miles across the top of the country. And I just think it's outstanding. I think.
And what is it? Portland, Maine to Portland, Oregon.
Portland, Maine to Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
And people, we do have Miss Rebecca Cunningham running Rabbit Studios on the scene. She's going to be bringing some live segments to us throughout the whole journey, which I'm super thankful for that. But Jody Parrots is there, so I'm even more thankful Dave is here. I thought for sure he'd be there with Jody, but I guess
it's got to be hard for Dave.
Yeah.
That's got to be hard for Dave that she's leaving on such a, and both from a spiritual end of things, that she's engaged in this thing, such a great big thing in her life, and also just for the fact that she's leaving on a 100-year-old motorcycle to go on this long ride. It's got to be unnerving for him here running a show at the same time.
Absolutely. But I just want to wish them all well. I hope everybody makes it safe. I hope the machines make it safe, and I hope more than anything you walk away with some amazing stories.
Jody has another woman that's riding with her. Chris Simmons is riding.
Oh, I love Chris. On. She's fantastic.
Let's not forget about women.
Yeah.
And all women builders.
Yeah, how about
it? Hey, come on, compete here at these shows. You're incredible. You do the work. It's that's an interesting aspect I've found. The women welders, women craftspeople. They're doing it. They're doing things I can't do, and riding across country. The diversity again, male, female, chopper,
all walks of life,
all types of bikes. It's a wonderful time in our industry, and I know there's struggles from all shops. There's struggles for the industry leaders and stuff. But it's also one of the most exciting times that we get if we just go after it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's one of the things that I keep saying. We just came from the Bonneville Salt Flats. My favorite thing about that experience was the diversity, and that it didn't matter what financial background you had, none of that mattered. It was there that the only thing that mattered was your love of two wheels. And nobody cared. Everybody was there to support each other, to lend parts, pieces, gear, regardless of their income bracket or what kind of motorcycle they were on.
Here's something interesting, Bob. Since you just brought up the struggles that are going on right now for a lot of people, this is something I keep going back to. The fact that motorcycling only for a period of about 10 minutes was wildly successful and had a ton of money in it. But you can really speak to this. You can really speak to through the 70s and 80s what it was really like as far as people doing business in the motorcycle game.
Well, yeah, so I started out after Woodstock. I went to college. Met my roommate turned out to be a motocross guy, and I'm third generation Harley rider, but kind of didn't have it really going on, until I got involved with my buddy there. I started out in the shop. They gave me the opportunity to work in a shop. I had an old Dodge truck I converted, had a couple beds in it and stuff. I lived in that thing for 2 years out in back of the shop. And, during the winter I'd get laid off. I'd go to work every day anyways. I was in the motorcycle business,
Man.
It was a race shop, so I did a little short track and road racing and stuff. Then around was it 82? I had some money. I was doing some flipping of houses, and I bought into Nemco. And then, man, I was the proudest guy in the world. I was in the Harley business, you know. So it's probably more often than not, the business has been a bit of a struggle. It always required this dedication to be involved, you know, to understand. The 90s, you know, I don't miss the 90s because it was so crazy. I mean, I was working with a couple different companies. We'd go to Iron Horse and Hard Bikes, and we'd go to Sturgis. We'd sell, and Daytona. We'd sell 200 bikes in a week. It was just crazy. There was the thing going on about master builders. You know, if you had enough money, you could pay somebody to build bikes for you. It was all bullshit. And that's what I didn't like about the 90s. It was really nice because you could develop products. Yeah. There was more products for 84 to 99 Softails than any other model ever in the history of motorcycles. It was they were just coming out weekly. There was no way to keep up with it, and everybody was making money. Well, then we had the crash, you know, when Harley, along with everybody else, was lending people money they shouldn't have been lending to, and that's what really caused our problems. Everybody thought the custom industry was going to die. Of course it didn't. Right. You know, guys like Dave Pirowitz, they did whatever they had to. If they had to build a Busa for somebody, they did, you know. Dave got into a lot of Triumph work and stuff like that. He's a real good buddy for years, you know.
And Fearless with Royal Enfield and that. Everybody started
They did whatever they had to do, and that's part of that root of that, what we're talking about, you know, with the motorcycle industry. So I actually, and it was really tough after that, but now I think, you know, with the struggles, I think we're just a great place because we got real people, we got talented. I mean, some of the people here, if you're anywheres in this area, the Cherokee show, you got to come and see what these guys are doing with their bikes. It's just unbelievable, you know, the work and the effort. But they're doing it. They're not hiring or they're not paying somebody else to do it. Everything is real now in our industry, and I actually appreciate that much more. Yeah, I made some good money back then, let me tell you, but right now I'm much happier with where the industry is at.
So, Bob, Jamie Tversik wants to know what your take on the smaller part stores like Lowbrow and TC Brothers is and how they're helping the custom culture right now.
Oh, I mean, those guys are doing, what they've done is they've recognized the change in society. I mean, that's what's going on, people. Millennials, I hate that word, but you know, that change in society, people moving back to urbans, what the urban locations, what Lowbrow and those guys have done is they've recognized what we're talking about, that people want to build bikes. They don't have the money to spend $40,000 on a new CVO, you know, so they're going to go buy an Ironhead or they're going to buy an XX650. And they can get the parts they need to make it cool from Lowbrow and built well. You know, I grew up in an era when helmets were like, man, you just didn't wear a helmet unless you were, you know, so you didn't wear. And we fought. I mean, I was in front of the Connecticut Senate, you know, going on about why we shouldn't wear helmets and they're safer not to wear. That's not even an issue anymore. You know, with the help of Built Well and other guys like that, helmets are now a fashion thing.
Yeah.
So what Lowbrow and Biltwell have been able to do is recognize the changes and show the old traditional guys that you can make money, you know? I mean, that's right. Isn't that what they're all going after? If you pay attention to the trends and what's going on. So kudos to those guys, and I wish them well. And my hope for the future is that they don't get affected by the money they make and stuff that they do, the success, and they stay true to what brought them to where they are today.
Now, as much as that is exactly like you said, you know, a couple smart companies that are paying attention to the changes, adapt to it quick, they're light, they make it happen. History repeats itself, though. Don't you just see, I mean, this is like another Hap Jones and KK Motorcycle Supply or Dixie Distributing. I mean, it's the same kind of stuff that happened before when there were people that occupied a space where there was a need, right?
Absolutely. And then that's why I said I hope that they recognize this and carry this tradition of being involved at the level of the grassroots level, of what makes this stuff happen. The other thing they've supported, I really believe, is the diversity. Then you talk about Born Free, you talk about Hand Built, that's all related to these guys, and it's a new world. I'm doing my best to stay in touch because motorcycles are just in my blood. I'm pumping 50 weight, brother, if you cut me open. So, that's, I just want to see this go on because to me, it's just such a special world. And I pay big tribute to these young guys that are making it happen and hope that they remember, why and where they are.
Right on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's where the future is of the customizing part of this industry, right? I mean, but I think also there are the Dave Perowitzes and the Yaffies and the guys out there that are still doing what they've been doing, but they've adapted as well. And those are the guys that I'm always amazed by. They can keep doing it, and the Nesses. They keep coming out with product. They keep building bikes. They keep doing it. And I don't think people realize how difficult it is to be in an industry for 40 years, or 30 years and be continually innovating.
It's such a trend related industry or trend ruled industry,
Sure.
I mean, you want to, everybody talks about the fashion industry. There's nothing more fashion than motorcycles, and what goes on. Let's face it. And absolutely, Paul Yaffe going from the custom bikes to the Bagger Nation deal, when that changed. Dave starting to work with Jody. I mean, how great is that?
Dude, that was one of the coolest things to watch happen.
Yeah.
Honest to God.
Pass that tradition on, watching Jody paint. I mean, Jody and Dave are like family to me, but I mean, I knew Jody when she was knee-high to a grasshopper, and to see what she's become and racing and Cannonball and painting, it's just incredible. And all these guys that, you're absolutely right, Ken. They've stayed there because they've been true, and I believe they've been true to who they are.
Sure.
And these other guys, what's happening maybe at a higher level is, again, they're so focused on unit sales and dollars, and the people in the industry at that corporate level change. So it takes them time
constantly.
to learn. Yeah. They don't know.
Constantly.
They don't know what we did in the 70s. Most of them weren't even born then.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and Dave, I constantly refer to Dave as the Gene Simmons of the motorcycle industry because it's a special kind of navigation that you have to be able to pull off to go through generation after generation, style after style. And if you think of bands like Kiss or Aerosmith or any of the great bands from the 70s, and if they're still around today, that means they've been through 70s rock. They've been through, the weird time of the 80s where things got glam and then, got heavy and metal years and then through alternative. And if a band made it through all of that and still kept any shred of their identity, that's amazing, So same thing goes for a builder that spanned those periods.
Yeah. Well, and you see him working with, you see Ness, they worked with Victory and now they're working with Indian, and they see those opportunities to kind of continue to, Yaffe is always, one of the first ones when a bike comes out, he's like, goes over to Buddy Stubbs and makes sure that he's the first guy to get that bike so he can tear it apart and start doing his thing to it. So, I mean, it's just constant innovation and, trying to stay ahead of those trends and even making those trends, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're really right. I just appreciate what's going on. For a little while, you want to talk about Lowbrow, Built Well, and the younger shows coming in. For a little while, there was a disrespect for the older generation. what I heard directly from some people was, oh, well, we don't care what you do or what you did. We're going to do it our way. What I really appreciate now is that's kind of fading. This whole diversity where people are starting to understand that if you're on two wheels, you're part of the family. And I see that coming together. Going to Mama Tried, going to Born Free, and seeing everybody half my age when I started doing that, and now going there and seeing guys that I grew up with being invited, bringing their custom bikes in, being part of the deal. This is the future, and I think we have a great future coming up because of that people are starting to understand the importance of that two-wheel family.
Definitely.
Yes, sir. Well, I know you got a busy weekend here, man, and tons going on, but so for future stuff coming up, if you can't make it to North Carolina this weekend, for the JMP Ultimate Builder series that's going to be kicking off through IMS, I imagine it'll be kicking off at Long Beach again.
Yes, sir. Yep.
And where can people go to follow that or see when it's coming near them that they can participate?
So Long Beach is going to be the middle of November. We have motorcycleshows.com. That will have all the schedule of what we're doing. In fact, I'm going out to California the 24th. I don't even know what day it is now. But we're going to go out there and we're going to talk about what we have to do to keep things, really alive and what's going on. So motorcycleshows.com, JMP Motorcycles, they're still behind us all the way. Progressive is sponsoring the shows. We're looking to keep it alive, and we're hoping to see everybody there. And we just want, don't be afraid that if you're your first-time builder, get out there. I've seen 16-year-old kids do incredible work with bikes, taking a KX100 and making it into the coolest cafe bike in the world. So I personally am inviting anybody at any skill level to get in touch with me, and I will help you as much as I can. I will get you into the shows. You get a little money, but it goes way beyond that. Who you're going to meet, who you're going to work with is going to really affect the rest of your life, and in a good way, in a real good way.
Right on, man. Well, like I said, dude, I appreciate you taking some time. I know this is a busy weekend. We're going to cut you loose. Take the time, man. Take the time to stand up and participate in this stuff, and most importantly, to back up what Bob's saying, what I'm saying. Show the diversity of who we are, who's actually working on stuff. You guys that are out there right now in the community garages and thinking that, it's your corner of the world and that's the only thing that stuff's going on, you'd be surprised how many similar situations and people that are digging on the same stuff as you are out there waiting to see it. So participate, stand up.
Agreed.
Hope to hear from everybody. Let's make this family get as big as we can. There's some great people involved, and there's some great people coming. So I'm doing the whole IMS series. We'll be doing some more shows. Check motorcycleshows.com. Check custombikeshows.com. Read Cycle Source Magazine. Chris takes care of everything. We can't forget that. He's been a good man and a really good friend for a long time. So thank you for having me tonight. I really appreciate that. And Ken, you've been involved for a few years yourself, with shows and motorcycles and the whole deal. So love you guys, and hope to meet a whole lot more new builders this year.
Right on, man. Ladies and
Thanks,
gentlemen.
Bob.
Bob K., thanks for being here tonight, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
So, Ken, in the news, you want to go to the news next? You ready for some?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Ready for some dicey, crazy times?
Yeah. What do you want to start with?
Right. Let's just go from the top of the list.
Okay.
Modus.
Yeah, Modus. Done.
Oh, dude, really?
Yeah.
How does this happen in a flash? Or
how does it happen without me riding one?
Right. Am I the only person that didn't see this coming?
I don't know, man. Their financial backers pulled out. I think that there's still I think that there's still a chance that there's somebody out there that's going to want to invest in this. They put a lot of time and money. I think they've been around for about a decade now. They built their own power plant, and so it's a shame. And at the same time, the motorcycle industry is really difficult. Like, it is no joke.
Oh yeah.
And so it's not all that surprising.
And I think one of the challenges too, to be fair, like we illustrated with Bob Kay and a man that has experience in the last 4 decades of this business and different parts of it. The motorcycle industry has almost always been hard. I think what's changed, and I will just venture to say this is only opinion and speculation. I think what's really changed, man, is the nature of finance. You know what I mean? Like, we've moved into a time of ravenous capitalism, or however you want to say that. It's like capitalism 2.0, where so much of what happens in business today depends on finance and finance rate and finance eligibility. I think the game is harder today based on that end of the scale.
Well, I was talking to a guy that's a VC, and I was talking to him about a project that was pretty exciting, really interesting, innovative. And gave him, put together a whole package, gave him the numbers, and he said, if we can't get 20% back, we're not doing it. And it was that simple. And it was, 20% in 18 months or something. It was a huge number. And it's because there are those opportunities out there. And so for a lot of people, they don't want to take the risk, and they don't want to, and so it has to be somebody who's really passionate. You can say what you want about Christian Clayton, of Sucker Punch Sally, the late Christian Clayton, but he was passionate about that company, about that brand. He screwed up immensely. He took a lot of chances that did not work out, but he was super passionate, and that's what. I'm not saying we need a bunch of Christian Claytons out there, but that's what God. Yeah, no kidding. But what we do need is, people that are passionate, and interested, and, it's got to be about something more than just money, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and you can look at Arch motorcycles. You can say whatever you want about the fact that they're $78,000 motorcycles. Keanu Reeves is super passionate about motorcycles. Like, he will not accept, a non-perfect motorcycle. Like, it's got to be perfect. And that's, there's not a lot of people out there, and it doesn't matter what it costs. It's got to be right. And there's just not a lot of that out there. So.
Yep.
So.
Right, moving on to a hot topic. This is a hot button topic right here. Harley-Davidson says it will open Silicon Valley R&D facility in late 2018. So they announced this on the heels of closing the Kansas City motor plant.
So it's part of the future, of Harley-Davidson. And in order to, their stock has been very, very flat for a long time now. And they are trying to do whatever they can to get ahead of whatever crash might lay ahead, and they're going where the talent is. It makes sense. I'm not saying I like it, but it makes sense to me.
It's so hard for me to say this because I want to be supportive, and time and time again we've given Harley-Davidson all the credit for the different outreach and the things that they're trying, but you really think that there's going to be so much interest in this new electric motorcycle line that type of investment is going to pay off for them?
Yeah, because I think, and it's what we've talked about before, about the fact that, that the electric, the EV market, it takes away a lot of those barriers to entry with motorcycles, right? And so is it really a motorcycle anymore? Because it's 2 wheels, but there's no clutch. There's no real, it's basically getting on a bicycle, right, and twisting the throttle. I mean, it's like one of those little kids, battery-powered deals where you can just go hop on. You don't have to have a ton of skill. So that's really good and bad, right? I mean, the idea, those barriers to entry are good to people like you and me because it's like, oh, it keeps all the kooks out, right? But it also is a barrier to entry. It makes it so it's more difficult for people to get involved. So if we are truly about like growing the sport, then we have to be willing to at least acknowledge the fact that the electric vehicle market is going to be a substantial one. And if somebody gets into motorcycling because they decided to buy an e-bike or an e-scooter that Harley-Davidson made, I can't fault them.
No, hey, listen, I wouldn't either, and I'd be right with you. I'd be right with you if this was really about reaching entry-level consumers. I would. So, yeah, tell me what is the proposed market price going to be for the electric motorcycle?
So obviously they're coming out with the live wire. That the only words that I've heard associated with that ring true to me at all are ultra premium. So if you think that
so that
TVO,
isn't an entry level.
No. But let me finish. So that is what they have to do in order to make a splash, right? They have to produce something that is performance driven. Okay. That they showed whatever it was 4 years ago. Although the new one doesn't share any parts with that, it is very similar. And so they have to come out and go, hey, we're here to stay, which nobody has done, right? Zero motorcycles. They were,
right.
Somebody else's, there are a bunch of companies out there that have tried to go the electric route, and it hasn't worked because they haven't had the resources. Harley-Davidson has the resources, and they are reallocating resources. Is it uncomfortable? For sure. But if you look at some of those other bikes that they proposed, one of them is an e-bike, so it's basically a mountain bike that's electric. Another one is kind of a scooter. And all of those, I think are planning on hitting the market by 2022, is what they're saying. So, they are planning on hitting the electric vehicle market in a lot of different ways.
Well, and I'll tell you what, if Harley-Davidson comes out with an affordable electric scooter for somebody like our daughter that could commute around college with it, I would be so down about that. And I would be so happy to take my money and help her achieve the purchase of a vehicle that would also carry the Harley-Davidson brand.
Oh, absolutely. I would in a heartbeat.
I really would.
Do you have that graphic?
I'm not
going to. That graphic?
I have the graphic from the Silicon Valley release.
So there's I'm trying to, I can't see.
So while you look for that, Jamie Tverzek wants to know how long you guys think it's going to be before we see an EV cruiser. I think
that's a weird thing,
Well, I'll tell you what, like just from a technology standpoint, electric motors have more torque than what the V-Rod had. As far as like torque and availability to deliver that, it would be easier to make an electric motorcycle into a touring bike than it would have been to make a V-Rod into it. Yeah, because the V-Rod, like, even for its own weight, you had to get it so high into the revs on pull-out. That was the thing that really precluded it from, I think, anyway, from ever being a touring motorcycle. Was by the time it got loaded with all the equipment to be a touring bike, it would have been cumbersome to pull out with.
Yeah. Well, a Tesla, which is I don't know how many thousands of pounds, but 0 to 60, that thing, it's like 2.3 seconds or something.
Yeah, they have incredible torque.
It's crazy.
So, Jamie, maybe not as long as we think. I guess it really depends on how these new live wires and their other, new to market EVs are going to come. But that one that you were showing on the Silicon Valley report.
Yes.
No, that's a live wire.
That's live wire. I do not like sport bikes. I actually like that motorcycle. I don't know why, though. Bike. I really don't. That's just totally not anything I would normally dig. But there's something I like about that bike. I don't know why.
It's got to be the orange.
No, I hate orange, actually. I don't know.
I would love it if it had if it had the Rotex motor in it, like the last Buell. I would. But I'm sorry. I just don't like the idea of an electric motorcycle. And maybe I'll come around to that. I do love the idea of giving.
Have you ridden one?
I have, and I'm just not. I'm a muscle car guy, man. It took me quite a long time to warm up to the Evolution motor. It took me a long time to warm up to the Twin Cam and to the V-Rod. And I loved all of those products. you know, but
Yeah.
You're just resistant to change.
I am resistant to change, and I think that's indicative of a large segment of our culture. You know what I mean? Not the segment that Harley's reaching out to with some of these new products. So the perspective that you're talking about with a college student really being able to attain an entry-level, cheap form of transportation, if that happens, but where that's not going to happen at $6,500. You're not going to sell that electric scooter for $6,500 to that college student.
No.
That's not really obtainable for, you know, a 20-something.
No, I mean, even when you get to, you know, like I said, I was at the dealership the other day, and I think they're a Yamaha dealer, and they had that Van, 200cc, you know, like big tire bike in the, you know, big tire in the back. And I was like, oh, that's a cool bike, but they're $4,000. I was like, that seems ridiculous for a 200cc, like, you know, ride around town bike, you know. But I think that's what we're going to end up looking at. You know, I bet we're going to end up being in the $4,000, you know, dollar range for a scooter. And I don't even know what a scooter goes for because I've never bought one. But
they're surprisingly not cheap.
Yeah, no,
they're really not.
And dangerous, you know, when you look at those little tires and.
Oh, Jesus.
Did
he just say dangerous?
Yes. Compared to a motorcycle, for sure.
Oh, dude, we were skate kids. Come on.
So, Madge Delgado says the Tesla Model S does do 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. That's crazy.
That's what I thought. So that's funny that she's on. It's my lease. She is my co-host for the
thank you
for the yoga podcast.
Right on.
Let's see,
so
Gary
she's supporting my motorcycle addiction.
Nice. Gary Hahn says that bike is wicked, too wicked to say it doesn't take skill to ride.
There you go.
Well, and if you look at the Street Fighter that they're going to be launching, which is, you know, we can kind of go into that part of Harley-Davidson as well. So there's a 1250 cc as well as a 975 cc 60-degree V-twin that they're launching. So it's on the Revolution. So it's the basis is kind of the Street 750 and the Street 500, but bigger, modular is what they're calling it, motors. And so they're going to have a they're going to have a 975, which looks like what they're going to be using for the Street Fighter model, which is going to be the combustion version of that Livewire. And it is a cool looking bike.
I got a
for
picture
sure.
of it up there.
Yep.
Ken, how did you say your friend's name?
Milese.
She has a scooter.
Yeah, she does have a scooter. I've never seen her ride it though. Seems dangerous.
Yeah, that's Street Fighter. I would have this bike.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, dude,
that's the one that I said
fierce.
I liked.
And
I like that.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying. If you look back and forth,
yep.
Yeah.
it's kind of the bike that I said that if it had a combustion engine, I would have the Livewire. That's that style.
Yeah.
You know, I'm down for that,
Yep.
dude. It's tough as hell.
Yeah, for sure. And it's that naked bike, you know, Street Fighter kind of, you know, that's super popular in the kind of Ducati scene. And
I do see,
Yamaha makes one. They make that, you know, FZ.
If I can just talk shit for 1 minute, for any of the children of the 70s who on Christmas morning had the privilege of waking up to a Robbie the Robot radio.
Oh my God.
Right? Do you see it? Is it just me?
No, I totally see it.
The heads took me straight back to my childhood.
Okay. One more Facebook comment, and I have to say this, and I'm going to say it jokingly. Apparently, Olin Borden doesn't much care for me because he told me to shut up.
Oh, yeah?
Wow.
He said, shut up, you talk too much. So,
to
Olin,
you?
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry,
Really?
Olin.
Hey, Olin, go to hell. You can just F off.
No.
Can't talk to Heather that way. Talk as much as she wants.
Heather's trying to give you guys on Facebook a voice on our program.
Right?
Man.
Everybody has a voice. Equal opportunity.
That's right. Equal opportunity offender.
Roy Martin from Roy's Toys is in the house. Hello, Roy.
Right on. Okay. Moving on.
All right.
We
can move on. I mean, I'm going to have a whole rundown of the Harley, the new Harley stuff in the next issue. So,
motorcycles flying high this weekend.
So the thing that's interesting about this, Chris, is read that article. Just read it really quick, and I'll talk for a second. So at first, I was like, "Who cares?" It's like going to be like one of those like throwaway,
right?
It's in Deadwood this weekend.
FMX shows in Deadwood, like whatever. Then I started reading it, and it's like Nitro Circus guys, X Gamers.
Wow.
Like, I don't know how they
Damn.
got this. They've got a 75-foot ramp. Like, it is going to be no joke.
So they got Travis's mega ramp.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't think it's his mega ramp. I think his mega
Appearing in
ramp.
Deadwood. Twitch is going to be in Deadwood.
Yeah, Twitch.
That's
Yep.
sick.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what the hell is going on in Deadwood? So then I found out that they're actually running the Supermoto through Sturgis
Oh,
the same weekend. So that's got to be,
Right on.
It's kind of one and the same. But yeah, super cool. I love to see stuff like that in small towns like
Yeah,
Deadwood.
Oh,
for
hell yeah.
sure. That town's going to be bumping this weekend. That's awesome.
Unfortunately, it'll probably just be a one-year event and we're missing it. So
Of course.
okay. So
Oh,
back to this. Move over motorcycles. Yamaha.
So the reason I thought that this was interesting is the fact that they're already doing what Harley's doing.
Right.
Harley's going to do this 2 or 3 years down the road, and Yamaha's already on it.
Well, and I mean, thanks to the people who developed the technology to help gold medal cyclists cheat their asses off. Right? Come on. What? It was too soon? It was me that said it.
Oh,
Okay.
no, that's good stuff. Yeah. I think that it's funny that they thought they could get away with it. So for people that don't know, it was what, Tour de France?
Yeah.
They had an electric assist on one of the road bikes, right? And,
yeah. It was like this little battery-powered thing that fit down into the frame or in the water, or it looked like a water bottle. There were two different
Yeah.
kinds. It was
and it was like
crazy.
it was a hub-driven motor.
Yeah.
Like,
And they caught old boy by riding up next to him with a thermal.
with the yeah.
Yeah. And actually shot the chassis and found a high thermal reading and busted his ass.
That's so funny.
Oops. See,
Such
don't
good stuff.
cheat.
Yeah, don't cheat.
Oh, you got to give it to him. That's crafty.
Yeah. So, e-bikes, Honda. I just had to put that in there because we're giving, attention to the American manufacturers. We got to start, I think, talking about some of the stuff that the other manufacturers are doing. There wasn't anything that I saw in there that I was like, oh man, this is a bike that I have to have.
There's something that I see that I have to talk about.
But the big thing, and we'll see this across all of the lines, Harley-Davidson, Indian, the Honda, they're all talking about technology. They're all like that is at least one of the talking points of what they're doing with their bikes.
Okay, so you wanna talk about some of the things they're not talking about?
Sure.
What do you see with the picture that's up on the screen right now? What influences do you see in that motorcycle?
Harley-Davidson.
I see some Harley. I see a lot of Victory.
Victory,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So one of the things that I see along the big manufacturers is they're all looking for these new markets and this outreach. They're taking a lot of cues from each other. Like you're starting to see stuff.
Oh,
from
I
Harley.
think you're teeing something up here,
Oh,
Chris.
I am teeing something up, baby. I am. So you want me to just kick it off now, or you got more to say about
Yeah,
old
no,
Honda?
man. Friggin' show that video.
So let's go and watch a little video. Like Ken said, he's been busy with all the Harley-Davidson stuff and running around the country at the new model, and he's off to the Indian launch, which a lot of you guys may have got a sneak peek on this real quick. We're going to play this video anyway for those of you that haven't seen Indian's new innovations. And that's not the video. We should talk about technology too. Here you go.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is an Indian.
So I'm more interested in the guys that are riding than I am in the bikes.
Stronger, louder, meaner.
Okay, so aside from the corny marketing tag, what you see and what we've talked about off the air already is the fact that one of the biggest things right off the bat is Indian's starting to depart from the traditional Art Deco, whole covered wheel fender deal, and and even into the fairing, man. They're really starting to go after Harley's touring customer.
Without a doubt.
Openly.
Well, and even right down to the guys they had riding it.
Like Ken said.
The way they were dressed, everything. That was not your typical, and I hate to stereotype, but I'm going to, but that's not the typical person that they would normally show on their commercials.
But what I will say is they are responding to customers' comments. They
Absolutely.
are responding to, for sure, 100% of the time, if you asked me if I would buy an Indian Chieftain, I would say no, because I can't stand the fairing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's a styling thing, right? It's not. And so, I can't fault them for that. And it does it does carry over some of the pieces of the old fairing. It's got those lines down the side that are very similar to the old one, but it doesn't have that Art Deco and the chrome. I can tell you for sure it's less expensive than the old one because it doesn't have all that chrome, and it seems like it would be less expensive. The saddlebags are the part that really made me scratch my head.
Okay, let me try to get to a picture of that real quick, but go ahead and tell me why.
Well, because, I guess that they're, they've got to match the styling of the fairing with the bags, but the bags really kind of said Indian, because they had that, those smooth kind of lines to it. They are, so anybody that's out there that's going, oh, God damn it, I love that fairing, and I love that, they're still going to offer the Chieftain Classic, which is going to have the same bags that it used to have. It's going to have the fairing that it used to have. So don't get your panties in a bundle. The Elite that they came out with last year, which was the first uncovered wheel or uncovered fairing, was really popular. What they found was that people really liked that bike. They liked the way it looked. They liked, and so they kind of dipped their toe in. They got great customer feedback, and they went with it. But it's pretty bold. The thing that's cool about it too, in my opinion, or one of the things that I'm interested in trying out with the new Chieftains especially, is the fact that it's got 3 ride modes now. That's so huge. BMW's been doing that for years. Ducati's been doing that for years. Why don't these bigger bikes have those modes? And so I think that's a great step forward.
Now explain to people who might not be hip on all the latest technology what ride mode means on a motorcycle.
So they just remap. So they just have 3 different maps that they use for their with the EFI. So the electronic fuel injection is mapped different ways, and they've got a sport mode and a city mode and whatever. I don't even know what they're calling the modes, but typically, they shift quicker or slower, that sort of thing. So,
right on.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, it'll be interesting, and I wonder a lot, and you and I have talked about this off the air too. How much of this is really, really the back and forth between the companies? How much of it's just good business? How much of it is just, both sides of the argument propagating more of the 100-year war? I mean, I think this has been a good thing for both Harley and Indian.
Yeah, especially when you look at the race, the race issues that they've had. I don't mean race like, black and white. I mean racing. Indian has handed Harley their ass this last year. Yep. Handed them their ass. And so I feel like they're just taking some of that bravado that they've, because I mean, if you think about Indian a few years ago, they never went really hard after anything, right? It was always kind of like, oh yeah, we're here, we're trying things out, and now they are, yeah, like, and now they're going for it. So, I want to read what it says. So, this press release says, blah blah blah, redesigned. As we continue to evolve the Indian motorcycle brand, we want to expand our lineup with more aggressive style options while still maintaining the availability of our more classic style options. What's most important to us is developing motorcycles that meet a wide variety of customer style preferences, and Chieftain's new look does just that. So they're saying the same thing that Harley is saying. I mean, not identical, but I mean, it's, they want to reach a wider range of customers. Yeah. So I get it.
I'll tell you what, between the racetrack and these adjustments, I think they're going to make it an easier choice for a lot of people.
I got to tell you though, I'd be pretty psyched to ride that FTR 1200.
You and the rest of the world.
Yeah. I know.
Everybody wants to ride that motorcycle.
I wonder when that thing's going to come out.
So
Jack Shit is watching.
Jack is right on. We should actually call Jack. We should call Jack for 2 minutes because he's working. He's working kind of. Yeah, he's working a neat event, and he's so close to us.
He's so close yet so far away.
Let me see if we can get him. Do you mind?
Ken's like, I don't have a choice.
I don't mind at all, man. As the phone's ringing.
Oh.
Tell Ken to lose that damn attitude. You tell Ken to lose that attitude. Put a smile on your face when you mention my name. And genuflect.
What's up, Jack? How's it going?
What's up, Jack?
How are you, sir? How are you? So is Ken with you guys too, or is Ken back at home base?
Ken's at home base. He's getting ready to go ride the New Indians.
Yeah, no. The only reason I rolled my eyes, Jack, is because I'm leaving at 6:00 tomorrow morning, and I have not packed.
Well, here's the funny thing is, I didn't know you rolled your eyes. I was just being a smartass. your general hatred for me had to come through, so I just assumed.
Oh, so listen, man, we're only like 2 hours away from each other, but at two entirely different events. And everyone here, Charlie from the Wall of Death, and everybody's like, oh man, Jack's so close. And I'm like, what's Jack doing? So I want to know about this event that you're at, because you're working with the people from Palmetto Moonshine, right?
Yeah. Who send their love and admiration to Miss
right
Heather.
On.
Because we built that whole relationship.
Tell them to send the moonshine.
Oh my God! Let me tell you something. Right now, I am drinking Tiger Moon Tang.
Oh, I really did like those folks.
Yeah.
Please give them my best. I miss them.
They down to earth, real deal. You know what I mean? Just family business.
Yeah, they were great. They really were great, and they make a good product. I mean, not gonna lie, it's pretty good. I dig it.
And and it's not made in giant, massive. You know what I mean? It's still made from the still, like it's still in a copper still, little small batch. South Carolina moonshine, the same that their great grandpappy made in the woods.
Yep, you have a tough job this weekend, Jack.
So
the worst part is the last time I came here for the spring rally, I just had my gallbladder removed. I couldn't drink a sip, right, which was torture. I get here last night, fly in, jump on a motorcycle, ride all over the place, lay down in bed, and wake up sick as a dog, can't drink. So finally tonight I was like, you know what? I don't even care, man. I don't even care.
Well,
and they gave me a
moonshine
bottle.
can kill a lot of things. Maybe it'll kill your sickness too. So drink away.
They have one. They have the mass consumption bottling that they do, and then they have their motto is bootlegger made, taxes paid, and they have this bootlegger brand. There's not brand, but one of the options they have is this bootlegger. and it's, pretty much one of the highest proofs you can legally do.
Oh.
So I put that in this 10 mix, and suddenly I'm feeling better. I don't know why. And suddenly, after the first jar, I feel like $1 million. So, Miss Heather, I guess who I'm sitting here with?
Who's that? Are you sitting there with Brother Speed?
Dino.
No way. Hi, Keith. How are
Hey,
you?
what's up, Dino? Good,
Mr.
buddy.
Dino. I put the phone on. He's like, and he's sitting on the other side of the table. And he goes, "Is that Heather's voice?"
So listen, man.
Yes,
The name of the event is Electric City Bike Rally.
yeah.
And this is
Anderson,
actually.
South Carolina.
I thought this was.
Anderson was the first city to have electricity.
What's that?
So Anderson, South Carolina, was the first city to have the city electrified.
Oh, no
so
kidding.
it's called Electric City in honor of that. And we're on a 160, 170-year-old plantation. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. On the plantation, it's down now, property gets chopped up and chopped up and chopped up over the years, but we still got like 50-something acres left here. It's a one-day party because we're trying to grow it slow and steady. It's not about the money. It's not about at the end of the spring rally, I think there was $300 left in the positive, and they're like, victory, We didn't lose a penny. We're in, and they're amazing people to work for. And we open up the property. So we do a little we do a ride today. We ended up with like 30 people riding with, and then we'd come back and do a little pre-party just to make sure everything, the lights work and the PA works. And we close it early, and then we started tomorrow. But the property is so amazing. So if you came into town on Tuesday and you wanted to camp, you just set your shit up. And if you want to stay through till Tuesday, just set your shit up. And it's all free camping. Don't ask for anything for it. And we're slowly trying to give people another option, springtime and fall time, than going to Myrtle where, nobody cares about you. It's
Right
just
on.
a grassroots, old school backyard, except your backyard's, 150 years old and 50 acres. But there's,
And
the
they're
original
trucking in
barn
the
and-
moonshine.
Well, yeah. Well, and
Yeah. Yeah.
You're only 2 hours and 15 minutes from us here in Cherokee. What a great way to spend a weekend between these two events. I mean, just
Yeah.
coming in
Oh,
here
yeah.
and the riding to get from one to the other.
And
That's
then
kind of a
Maggie
no-brainer.
Maggie Valley's 15 minutes away from
for
here.
sure.
God.
Just save the
Well,
moonshine till the end.
I talked to Charlie. He said, I spent the last 2 hours of daylight at Wheels, and then went out and got a margarita with the girls who run Wheels, and then headed down to Cherokee.
Right on.
Did he tell you the Nicholson story with Jay?
Yes.
Yeah.
How funny is that?
Yep.
I know, right?
He's got the Wayfarer glasses on. He's like, that's Jack Nicholson. No, it's not. Wow, that might be Jack Nicholson. No, it's Jay Allen. After setting 77 lane speed records again.
Oh my God, dude, he was on fire at Bonneville this year. Did
Unbelievable.
you hear the one we interviewed him on Grease and Gears Garage Stage today, and the one pass that he did where he set a record, he shifted like 16 times in the mount and completely blew his transmission apart, but not before he took the record. He wouldn't.
At 100, 180 something
he
miles
wouldn't,
per
he wouldn't
hour.
stop shifting until he got the record.
Wow.
16
Wow.
times in a mile.
So
Wow.
the site is ecbikerally.com.
Electric City Rally. And we're hoping to grow it, but slow and steady. 10 years from now, if it's a 3-day weekend, we'll be thrilled. You know what I mean? It's a couple bucks. It's next to nothing to get in. It's right on River Road. It's called the Rocky River Plantation. So if anybody's interested in coming down, you can't miss it. It's just spectacular. And, traditional stuff, man. Live music, 4 or 5 bands, bike show, rodeo games. We're going to build it's supposed to be 90 degrees tomorrow, so we're going to build a pool in the morning so that people can hop in the pool. Old school, hillbilly, hay bale, plastic tarp, big old pool.
Right
And
on.
we're just going to have a stupid redneck backyard party. You know what I mean? And this is the 3rd time we've done this. We did it in the fall last year, but we did it at the distillery. We brought Rebel Sun into play, and we packed the parking lot and the parking lot across the street. And it used to be the building, the distillery, was this old ancient taxi stand. They worked on the taxis inside and stuff. And the second floor of it is just like the ultimate fan room. It was incredible. But in the first party we threw, there was so many people, there was no way to do it again. And they said, well, let's go to the plantation. It's like 10 minutes from the distillery. And it really is beautiful. But you're right. You go up next year, you go up to where you guys at, go there Thursday, Friday, ride down Saturday for us, and have a great time. We're really working hard to give people a choice down here. You know what I mean?
All
and
right.
the ride, second to none.
Oh, yeah.
It's oh
Yeah,
my God.
this is one of my favorite parts of the country to ride in, man.
It really is. When I left here in the springtime, I said to Diane, I said, now that you've moved your entire family to Arizona, what do you say we move to South Carolina? She's like, I'm in.
Nice.
Well, listen, man, we couldn't be
But,
this close to you and not reach out to you in one way or another. I wish we were spending some time together this weekend, but it looks like you have a hell of a
we
good
are.
time ahead of you.
Yeah, and it's great people. Man, you know the South, man, there's no better people in the world. You know? Everything that's theirs is yours, and they just make you feel like you've been friends for 20 years. Every person I've met here, you know, I feel like that we've known each other our whole lives. It's just something so special about being in the South here. It really is incredible. But I hope you guys, what are you doing? Greasing Gears Garage up there?
Yeah, we're doing Greasing Gears Garage, and we got Dave Pirwitz has his bike show tomorrow. We got our bike show on Sunday, and we maybe we'll get to
Nice.
sneak a ride in.
Ooh.
I'm about to see about borrowing a motorcycle.
Yes.
Ooh.
So
Right.
tell everybody there I
Wait.
said hello, Jack.
Wait. Why would you have to borrow a motorcycle?
Because
I know the pan is...
The only bike we
the
have
shovel.
with us right now is the War Pony.
and all my bikes are in other states right now.
Like, we have a bike in St. Louis and West Virginia and Pennsylvania, and we have a race bike here.
Oh, is this cycle showcase time too?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so Randy has my my Lictor build, which I'm dying to ride.
I can only imagine. Wow. Where's Ken flying to? Back to Canada?
What? I'm not flying anywhere.
I'm just get this. You got to fly somewhere at 6 a.m.
No. I'm getting on a motorcycle and riding it to Washington State.
Oh,
Yeah, I know
Right.
it's tough.
that sounds.
Yeah. And camp on the way, hit
Shut
Beartooth
up.
Highway. Yeah, the whole thing. You can watch my
But, like, you
watch
and
my journey on CycleSource
Yeah.
Facebook page.
I thought he was going to say you could have watched my bike.
I can wash your bike. Yeah. Prospect. This is a test ride kind of deal, or you like getting actual time with your girl and going for a
No,
ride?
he's riding
No.
to the test ride.
Yeah, I'm riding to a
was
test
riding
ride to drop off one of their bikes. So yeah,
You know,
but it
Very
all worked
nice.
out.
You be safe. You
Ha-
enjoy yourself. Be safe.
Hashtag Ken's a
And,
baller.
He's the
Hashtag Ken what?
Hashtag Ken's a baller.
Oh yeah, that's nice. As I'm eating cold soup out of a can on the side of the road.
But it's on the side of a road from
That's
a
right.
motorcycle trip while we sit in an office.
I
Oh
know.
God, nobody feels bad for you.
I feel
I
bad
know,
for me.
I
That's
like- yeah.
enough. Hashtag
Yeah,
my
it's
husband's a
awful,
slave driver.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, listen, Jack, we're gonna cut you loose, buddy. But
Love
we'll
you,
talk
Jack.
to you
Yeah,
soon.
have a great weekend. Everybody be safe and have a good time. Send everybody my love up there, and we'll see you guys soon.
All right, buddy. Later on.
Later, Jack.
Ciao.
All right, cool. I had to check in with Jack.
Yeah, I hear you.
No, and
Good
those
dude.
seriously, those guys from Palmetto Moonshine really are good guys. They truly are. Trey and his brother, and I can't remember because it's been too much moonshine when I knew them. But good family, good guys.
So a couple things coming up in the next few issues of the magazine. Like Ken said, we're gonna have full report on Harley's new stuff, full report on Indian's new stuff. There's some really good tech stuff coming up. Will and the guys from Faith Forgotten Choppers have been really stepping it up when it comes to performance tech, and they sent me a video. I'm gonna play this thing and preface it with I don't know what it is yet. So they said this is what we're working on for tech next
You
month.
really trust Will Ramsey,
Yes, I
don't
do.
you?
And I'm
Oh, good
hoping there's no
Lord.
nudity. We'll see. So
Hi, Corey Barnum here,
Yeah.
Faith Forgotten Choppers,
Will
New
sent me a
Albany,
video with
Indiana.
no audio.
Just wanted to introduce myself and show you a couple packages that we
Click the
came up
headphone
with
thingy
here.
button.
I was recruited by Will Ramsey to come up here and enhance the performance side of our service department. What we have right here is a 2015 Road Glide that we just installed the TTS 100KM in. We did the D&D Fat Cat 2-into-1 exhaust system, and we are going to tune this with the TTS tuner. Our next step on this bike is to tune it with the TTS flight recorder on the street. This way you optimize your fuel economy and we give you the most power out of your bike that you can get. Be on the lookout for the upcoming issues of Cycle Source magazine, where it's a step-by-step on how to install these cams correctly. Corey Barnum, Faith Forgotten Choppers, New Albany, Indiana.
And Corey is a nut job. Like, we've been living at the shop for a couple days working on the next issue. That right there is the only time I know Corey is coming to or leaving the shop. He is constantly on the throttle. That dude is insane.
Nice.
So, really, really good guy. Total motor nut. He's working on a lot of great performance stuff that we're going to be bringing you guys from Faith Forgotten in the tech pages of the magazine coming up. So, definitely keep an eye out for that. In the very near future, we have Lone Star Rally coming up again this year. Our famous rodeo games of Lone Star Rally and our ever popular bike show, both at the Seawall
And
Right
in
on.
motion.
and in motion. We're actually going to start in the next broadcast. We're going to start bringing some of the in motion builders in from this. You guys remember last year we started a show with the help of Will from Faith Forgotten and in conjunction with Lone Star Rally. $10,000. We invite between 12 and 15 builders to come out. Every motorcycle has to run. We do a shakedown ride. They're judged by people from the industry. It's a good time and a whole nother level bike show. So that's coming up in short order as well.
And so is Sons of Speed.
Yes.
I believe it's October 19th. Biketoberfest, New Smyrna Speedway. We should have more details in the next issue as well. So.
Yep, Willie's Tropical Tattoo, Thursday, October 18th. As always, the greatest chopper show on earth, which we are proud supporters of. If you haven't been there, you live under a rock. If you haven't been there, you should be there. Just saying.
Yeah.
I'm honest. I'm sorry.
Now, see, you wonder why you're getting fan mail.
Yeah.
I never said I was nice. I'm honest.
Okay?
Let's see.
All right. And then next week, the plan is that we are going to have Reed Wilson, the director of marketing from Indian Motorcycle, on the show. So I will be live from an undisclosed location in Washington State somewhere.
So you're going to ask them the big question?
What's that?
We'll talk about it another time.
So get your questions ready
What's the
for
big
Indian
question?
motorcycles.
About the ride that went right past their place.
Oh,
Yeah. No, it didn't go by. It didn't go past their place, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Still
But it just happened to be in the same. Yeah.
kind of funny.
It is funny.
All right, what do you got on social media there, Blondie?
I'm gonna do my weekly personal gratuitous hellos to my son and daughter because they're watching. I love it. They don't usually tune in, but they are tonight. So hi, Emily and Zach, and my mom's watching. Hi, Mom. And I think I caught everybody else up. Yep. Oh, and Walter Ceresi says Jamie Tversik is a Harley nerd. Nerd.
Interesting.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you guys taking the time with us, letting us invade your mind space for a minute. Follow us on Facebook, get notifications when we go live with this program through ShopTalk. Catch up on older issues through Forever Two Wheels. That's number 2wheels.com. And until next time.
Wait a minute. Share.
We gotta get a better. Yeah, we
Sure.
gotta get a better sign off. I don't like the whole we're out thing. We gotta figure something out. So we'll just say goodbye this week. I'm just springing that on you. I know, but I don't know. It just feels weird.
Look at the face.
I love
This
when you
doesn't work.
criticize me on the air, Ken.
No, I'm not criticizing you. I'm the one that came up with this stupid thing. Yeah, it's like it never works. So like, why don't we just say goodbye?
Okay.
Anyway.
we could sing
Can
the
we
happy.
play? No, wait a minute.
there's-
Can we say the goodbye song?
We could.
Get the.
No.
Oh.
We could sing Happy Trails. Who cares about the clouds when you know?
We're together.
I'm.
Just sing a song and think about
Yeah.
sunny weather. Happy trails to you till we meet again.
I will never sing. Sorry, not happening. Bye.
Oh, it's getting late at the rally. So thanks for hanging out with us. Sorry about the singing, and we'll catch you next week on another episode of Shop Talk.
You have
Bye.
to do the I'm Chris, I'm Ken thing. You can't
Okay.
not do that. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
He's Chris.
He's Ken,
Bye.
and she's Lulabelle, and we're out.
Bye. Oh, you could. Oh, you could not do it.
Oh, I did say it.